All right. Well, welcome, women. Happy Monday. I feel like um, I don't know why it feels like so long since I've seen you. I was facilitating. I did my first experience facilitating a intensive with a group of three women. So three women hired me to come stay on one of their property and facilitate this vocal embodiment experience for, it was about 3.5 days total. And that was the end of last week into Saturday. And I just like, I went into this portal where time stopped. And so it feels like so much has happened and so much has transformed, even though it was only a week ago that I saw you, which is like typical. But it just, I'm a little bit, yeah. So that's going on today. So I don't have anything prepared today. So I just really want to be present to what's alive in the moment. And so we'll start with an accountability check-in around how we did from our the goals that we set last week. And then I really want to be present and tune in to where each of you are at, what's alive for you, what you're working through, what you're growing through, what you're celebrating, and then do some goal setting. That's what we'll do today. So starting with accountability, let's start with Dira. How'd you do from last week's goal setting?
I did good. If I remember correctly, last week I was preparing for some podcast interviews I was doing, and the one that was scheduled for last week went really well. I had a lot of fun, and the other one we're still set up and on board. I believe it starts in November. So we just kind of went over some more details about how that's going to go, and it's been good. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Great work. Happy for
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, all that was on your list was podcast preparation. So sounds like you did it. What about you, Karen?
I did great. I feel like it was my thing to set up my 6 week coaching stuff. All
Yeah,
right.
map
So,
out your free 6 week coaching offer. Oh, and do a
yeah.
little bit of client management.
Yeah. So I basically set up a whole thing in Dubsado to be able to, capture the leads, then set them up with, like 6 weeks of automations and stuff. So I did that, sent out the email this morning. Already got 3 consults. So I'm doing pretty good.
Great. Such good work. Excited for you.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
what about you, Michaela?
I missed y'all last week. I did not really
Oh,
set goals with you, I don't
okay.
think.
Okay,
But
well, what I have written for you must have been from the week before. You had some outreach from a list of women that you wanted to do. And then, do a check-in, re-sanctify email communication. You wanted to have a meeting about that.
mhm,
So I don't know if there's
mhm.
anything else that you added, but yeah, that was from 2 weeks ago, I guess.
Amazing. Yeah, I ended up having like a 5 hour drop-in phone call with this sister named Suvi, who is an incredible human. And so much came up in that conversation. The sisterhood came up in the conversation, what feels alive and inspired just as like a movement forward from that is to set up a call with her and you and I think 2 other sisters. I know we had talked about so this is funny. I have goals for the affiliate program and I have goals in here. So I'm trying to find an easier way to track what I'm what I'm setting my goals for. But it feels like it bleeds into that. It feels like it's in that same thread of the goal that I have to set up a call, like a group call. So that was like something that happened that is leading to the creation of that moment, which is exciting. And other than that, Sanctify is kind of on a pause right now, a little bit on a pause. So I'm just feeding into other areas of my work right now. That's what's happening.
Beautiful. Good work. And Kat, you also were not here last week, but feel free to share a win you had from the week before,
Yeah.
The spreadsheet update with cost updates for the business and how much you're going to charge. So I don't know if you got to that, but
Ma'am,
yeah, anything else you want
yes.
to share?
That's what I was gonna bring up is like I put my life into a spreadsheet. All the aspects of my business of like how much I spend every month on, yeah, I did it. And with my husband, we worked together and it took so long, but now it's done. Like everything we pay for, like subscriptions, and then what can we let go? What can we downgrade or upgrade? And especially with like our installations of the Kangen machines, you know, there'll be like these tiny little like nuts, literally like nuts and bolts that are like $4 a piece, but they add up. And we like really had no idea the exact cost for like everything. And I think this took us almost 5 hours, but it's all done. And it feels so freaking good. So that's done. And we went on vacation. We just got back last night. So I feel like totally reset and really good. So yeah.
Nice. Where was your vacation?
We went to Northern Ohio, which if any of you have never been there, it's the absolute most beautiful place you could be right now because the trees are like on fire. Like they're like bright orange, bright red, you know?
Yeah.
Really cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was like Northern Ohio to an 1800s log cabin, like a
Beautiful.
handmade cabin. It was really cool.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, where I was at for the retreat I was facilitating was like middle of Vermont. Like also everything was so vibrant. The trees were so vibrant. It's like so beautiful around here right now. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, doing good.
Beautiful. Okay, so a question that I have for you all, we'll get started with a prompt for this week, is a two-parter. And the question is, what are you growing through? And how do you desire to be supported in that growth process? What are you growing through and how do you desire to be supported? And I'll leave it up to you if you want to apply that to your personal life or to your business or a combo, like we were talking about in the chat. Growing your business is about growing yourself. So it often your personal life applies to your business and vice versa. But yeah, the question is what are you growing through and how do you want to be supported in that process? And I'll call in the first person and then you can call in the next one. And let's start with Michaela.
Oh, I feel like I'm going through a lot. And so what I'll say is that I'm navigating how to be grounded in my life and in my work while I'm physically not really grounded. Like I'm moving pretty often, like every couple of weeks, I'm in a new space. And it feels like slightly a part of my design to be traveling and moving. And also, we talked a little bit about, so I'm a 2-4 in human design, right? And my home is so important. And because I don't really have a home that's like fully mine right now, it's feeling really challenging to be holding myself consistently accountable. And so it feels really uncomfortable and challenging. And at the same time, like, yeah, I really just get to be making way more money than I am. It's like the fucking story of this period of my time of life that I'm in. My Saturn return is also just about to like really kick off in December. And as an aside is I just had this like 2-hour astrology reading about my chart and about my Saturn return and like all these things that are happening. And it's so directly connected with like my work and bringing who I am into my work and out into the world. And so that is what I'm working with. How I desire to be supported with that right now. Oh man. All I'm hearing is I don't know, but I know, but I just, yeah, the hardest part. Definitely the hardest part. I don't know. I'm just trying to get through it. I think what I really can do, like what really supported me a couple days ago, is I just wrote down the things that I get to do. I feel like I need to like bring it all together somehow. Like there's so many different channels in which I'm pouring into. I think I really just need to like hone in on like how it is, however, like creating a product, like creating something that I can actually offer as a stream, like a mainstream that I can be about and talk about and really like hold. I think that's what I really need support in creating for myself, so that I'm not just like out here slanging massages like right now. That's what it is. I'm like offering body work to the women and the mothers in my life that I know, or anybody who I know needs that support. And there's just no real, so that's what it is. That's it.
Okay.
That's what I got.
So I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling your share just inspired me. What I'd love to do is after each share, just do like quick, like 30 to 60-second reflection round, because I'm like feeling all of this coming through. So and not, if you don't have a reflection, all good, but I'd love to give to like be able to leverage the mastermind energetic a little bit more. Like we're all here to be together and also to learn from each other and be there for each other and support one another. So I'd love to give us an opportunity to leverage that as in as many instances as we can. So what I'm hearing you say, Michaela, I'll take a 30 to 60-second reflect. What I'm hearing you say is that you're growing through establishing a grounded feeling in your life, even in moments where you're geographically ungrounded and moving from place to place. I'm also hearing that you're growing through holding yourself accountable to all of the many things that you've got going on, and you want to funnel those things in, like energetically, into one core offering that you create for your business. It sounds like a signature offering is like what I'm hearing you say. Yeah, those are the things. Yeah. Okay. So one thing that I just want to offer you and reflect back to you is that it's so like right there for you. It's so just like right there. And I'm getting this sense that actually it's only your mind and the thoughts that you're thinking about what's happening in your life that are making it feel spread out. But like everything that you're doing is interconnected and supportive of one another. So I think it's like, it can be, there's so much you can do with the way that you think about something versus, where you can make something feel really energetically spread out and unsustainable or ungrounded, or you can think about something in such a way that makes it feel really cohesive and grounded. So that's my initial thoughts. That's what I'm reflecting back. Take it or leave it. Does anybody else have a reflection for Michaela? Karen, is that a yes? Did you nod your head? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, definitely do. I see Deer's off screen, so I just wanted to like not jump in first, if that's cool. But the reflection that I have, Michaela, is very much piggybacking on what Naya is saying, especially because nothing has gone wrong. Like, doesn't seem like there's any problem, right? It's all about how you're thinking about it, which could be creating like feelings that are not feeling good and not feeling of stuckness, right? It's possible that in order to get that clarity to figure out what you want that offer to be, that you may need to like do a deep rest and a deep stillness to allow it to come forth instead of chasing after it. And so I know you said you're a 2-4. It made me want to know, what is your aura type? Are you manifesting generator? Mhm. So you're naturally going to want to do all the things all the time. You're a natural multitasker, right? And you have a lot of energy. And so, and you can start a bunch of things. And like, sometimes you need to know, you need to be in the thing that you start before you realize this is not the thing that I want to be in. So part of it could also be asking the universe to give you something to respond to. Maybe it's already there in one of your offers. And then saying, okay, well, do I want to say yes to this? And then after you say yes, really like envision what that outcome is going to be, like really like visualize. If I say yes to creating, this offer, for example, what is that going to look like? What is that going to feel like when I carry it out? Is that something that I'm going to want to do in 90 days, in 9 months? And then if it's still a yes, maybe that's the direction you go in.
Beautiful. That response is key for the Manny Gens. Anybody else have a reflection for Michaela?
I have a quick one. So I like listened to all the things like Naya and Karen were saying, and I just loved so many things there. But one thing that I feel, because you're like, oh, you're moving around, and I like, even though I don't reply to all the voice notes, I listen to everything and I read it. And so you're like in different places. And I know for me that I thrive with a consistent place to be creative and to work. And one thing that really helps me is to not work or try to work or be creative in any room that I like rest and that I sleep, like an energetic thing. So some feedback or like reflection would be, if you're trying to like sit down and really think about like what you're offering as you're putting together, like go work somewhere like out of a co-working space or at a nearby coffee shop, like break away from wherever your resting space is. That's just been really big for me. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kat.
Mm-hmm.
And Dira, do you have a reflection for Michaela?
I do, just real quick. I am 100% on board with everything that has been said so far, especially with the stillness, though. And the main reason that I really like that and why I think that's a good idea, we do have an eclipse coming up, and we know how the energy can be a little bit chaotic. But I feel like in sitting back in that stillness, not only will you get clarity, you will also get clarification about how to move forward, even with the chaotic energy that's getting ready to be coming through. Because I know everybody says, don't do anything on an eclipse. Well, if you're looking for something to do or chasing something, yes, I don't recommend doing anything. But if something comes to you, that's a different story. And so that's why I think stillness is a fantastic idea.
Love it. And how does all that land, Michaela?
Thank you all so much. It's hilarious because I'm being put in this position where there's not a lot in my life that I'm being asked to respond to in my work. And it's like I'm literally being asked to get still, but there's something in me that's like just fighting it. Like I don't, like I'm supposed to be, I need money, like I need to do something. And so hearing that reflection is really helpful, feeling really held and loved, and appreciate you all so much. Thank you.
Beautiful. And who are you feeling to go next?
Dear.
Beautiful, Dira. So what are you growing through, and how do you desire to be supported in that growth process?
Yikes. Okay, so what I am currently growing through is healing my own inner masculine energy. And the reason I say that is because I had this sort of wormhole experience over the weekend where I mentioned it in the Telegram chat, where I went to bed Friday night with like 700 TikTok followers. Today I have 13,000. So I'm like, now what do I do? And a good friend of mine who is a spiritual business coach, she was like, you need a really good funnel. And she's like, you gotta anchor in your masculine. She goes, you've been doing great with the feminine. That's what attracts everything and brings it to you. But the masculine is what grounds it in the reality. And I thought, oh, but how do I do that? Somebody who's had a sort of wounded masculine energy themselves for most of their life. I mean, I grew up in poverty. I spent most of my adulthood in poverty. So there's a lot of mindset shifting and things that I'm going through. And then on top of that, we did just find out that my grandmother's cancer metastasized to her bone marrow. And my daughter told me about 2 hours ago that they are not sure she'll make it to Christmas. And so now I've got to try to figure out how to get down to Georgia and see her when I don't have any money. So I'm trying to sort through and balance some things. I'm also feeling called to, aside from, of course, going forward with the momentum of the following that I've got on social media, but around that, I'm also going to be sitting back in some stillness myself. But to be completely honest with you, I'm not sure what kind of support I need because I also am not very good at asking for help. And so I usually don't know what I need until somebody says, here, let me help you with this. And I'm like, oh, yes, that's what I need. Thank you. So that would be what I'm growing through, and support wise, I'm not sure.
So, okay. So the question though was not what you need. The question was actually, what do you desire in terms of support? And I would challenge you to just take another moment to explore this question again from the entry point of desire. Like, how do you desire to be supported? And that could be by us through the lens of the sisterhood or women in your life. That could be by the universe. Like, I love what, when Michaela was answering this question, she wasn't like saying something really specific in terms of like, oh, I want you to call me and check in or anything, right? It was like, I want clarity around what my core offering is. And that would be really supportive to me, right? So I would just like, I'm just going to challenge you to get a little bit more still and more quiet and see if there is a desire somewhere in there around what you want to receive in terms of support from us, the Undeniable Sisterhood, or from the universe, or from people in your life, whatever that looks like.
What comes to mind, and this does go in hand with healing my masculine energy, is the tension around my family right now. I would love to have support and even signs from the universe that I am supported in this, because my family has been through an implosion recently. And with me, because I want to be able to see my grandmother without any kind of drama or tension coming down on that, if that makes sense. So what I desire is the opportunity to see my grandmother at least one more time without the drama that could potentially come from that if I were to just show up down there. And for example, my parents are there, because I don't know if you guys know, I haven't spoken to my parents in a while. So I desire support from the universe and having the opportunity to be able to see my grandmother again. That's kind of the main thing.
Beautiful. So we'll do another brief reflection round. What's coming to me is, it's like, sounds cheesy, but it's like, be the love, right? Like, be the love that you desire, and yeah, this whole dance of masculine and feminine. I've actually been the opposite, where I've been more in my masculine and not as much in my feminine. So my work has been really being in my feminine. But then recently I had the reflection that my masculine has actually been, like, I've been in my masculine, but it's been distorted. It's like a distorted masculine, because the feminine hasn't been available to me, and the masculine really thrives off of feminine energy and pleasure and just flow, right? And so because like the feminine was out of balance in me, my masculine, even though it was stronger, it was like a distorted masculine. So like, was it really the masculine? I don't know, I'm like working through it, but that's up, right? The balance of those core energies in us is up for me too. So I just also want to reflect back that like any kind of mirror that I can be or we can be as you discover this this work, you know, within you of like developing that fierce masculine core that helps you kind of establish those structures in your business that support the flow that you've been receiving from the feminine. I'm here for it. Yeah. And yes to those signs from the universe. I heard that fully, and I totally, all you got to do is look. I see that. Anybody else want to reflect back to Dira?
I'll reflect for Dira.
Yeah.
So, Dira, I think about you often because you're my accountability witness. And I know Mondays are coming up. I'm like, oh my gosh, have I checked in with Dira? What's going on? So I wanted to provide some reflection because I didn't even thinking about you, Michaela, either, that you both brought up money today. So maybe that's like a theme for our week, right? And like, Dira, anytime I think about you or that I've talked to you, I've never once thought, oh, that's a person who doesn't have enough money to go see her grandma. Like, I've never thought that about you ever. And I don't know, there's just like some reflection. I feel like you may have some, like, you're more prosperous than maybe you think. And one way that this might sound silly, but one way that I get money every month is I sell random shit around my house. So like last month, I made almost $500 on Facebook Marketplace by selling random things I don't need in my life. Like this crystal. Okay, I should sell this. This is like a $70 crystal. What do I need this for? Nothing. So I would just offer you this idea. Like I've done this for years. Like I make an average of $500 a month just selling random shit online. And yeah, try it. I am so serious. Start with items that you look around your house that you know are over $100. Yeah. So it's like, sounds silly, but like I see people are in pinches and it's like you have so much freaking abundance. I bet anything in your house that you can make it, like it can happen for you. So I don't know if that's like landed or not, but it's such a funny thing for people to think about. But that's what I do. It's how I pay for my baby's childcare, through selling random items I don't need anymore. So I think that you're prosperous and that when death arises, you know, in the past 2 weeks, I've had 3 very close people to me die. And anytime death arises, there's always birth. There's always healing of relationships. You know, you also brought up your parents, which I know we've chatted about before. I just feel like there'll be a conversation, you know, there'll be a connection, there'll be love that's shared between you guys over this, because that's what happens when people die. It brings people together, you know? So I'll just be thinking about you and supporting you through that.
So beautiful. Such a beautiful blend of like practicality and not practicality. And I love that reflection around just how abundant, like that you see so much abundance and prosperity in her. That's so huge. And we forget that. So it's beautiful that you can mirror that back to her. Thanks, Kat. Anybody else want to reflect to Dira? Yeah, Karen.
Okay, so 2 things came up as you were talking. The first one was something I heard once on RuPaul's Drag Race, and it always stuck with me. It was, don't let your inner 8-year-old child make your adult decisions. And that's specifically in relationship to going to the hospital and knowing that family is going to be there and knowing that, you know, things could feel really tense. And so there was that piece, but then that led me to another thing of like, you already know what's required because this is the work that you do for others. And so it was almost like, what if you treated yourself like your own client and went through like a self-coaching session of like, what do you need? What does Dira, your client, need to feel safe, dignified, loved, and belonging in that space? To know that when you're there, you can be in anyone's presence and still hold on to your sacred feminine and your sacred masculine, right? Like what do you have within your power and your control to create an intentional space for yourself, to create an energetic boundary for yourself at all times? Because that's life. It's inevitable that, especially with the passing of uh, a generation, and when we all have to come together and be there, um, it's going to bring up stuff. But you said it, like, you want to be able to see your grandmother. That is your intention. You have every right for that. That is totally within your power to do that. So how can you make that happen for yourself, even when there are people there who are going to bring up tension? Does that, you know what I mean?
I do. Thank you. And by the way, Kat, I don't think that was silly at all. I think that's brilliant. I had not thought about it before, but thank you so much. And yes, Karen, that absolutely makes sense. Especially the part about my inner 8-year-old, because she's still quite angry with my parents. So there are some things to be done there.
If I could say one more thing there, like, she gets to be, is that okay? If I say one more thing about your inner 8-year-old?
Yeah.
Okay. She gets to be angry, and you get to tell her that you got her and you're going to handle it. She can go be angry, but you're an adult and you're going to handle it for both of you.
I love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's everything. That's everything. I was, a friend of mine was going through a really hard time with her man, and she asked me if me and my fiance could do a little holding space for them. Like, she was like, I want to heal in community. Can we do this together? And I got on the line with them, and they were just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, you both are children in this moment. I just want to let you know, you both are being children. One of you has to decide to be an adult for yourself first. Right? You need to be the mother you need in that moment. You need to be the father you need in that moment. And then you can show up for the partner, the family member, the parent, whoever it is. But it's like, you need to be the parent for you first, which is a little bit about, just a different way of saying what Karen just said. And then, and then you can go and be an adult with other people in your life. But that piece is so important, because otherwise that inner child is just going to take over the whole conversation. And that's when everybody is just having temper tantrums, and things become very tense and dysfunctional very quickly. Beautiful. Michaela, did you have a reflection for Dira? Okay.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I also echo all the things that were just said. I've lost both of my grandmothers, and the first grandmother I lost was in 2020, and then my mom's mom, and then my dad's mom died at the beginning of this year. And just, I say that just to really deeply relate with the experience and the initiation that it is, especially to lose a grandmother, or for a grandmother to die. We're not lose, why did I say it that way? To go through the experience of, like, all that brings, like, especially the piece of going and being with the family. I've also been estranged with my family throughout several different parts of my life, and I trying to find the gem, the gem of what wants to be shared right now. The gem is on the same vein of, like, it's really about you. It's always really about you and your relationship with your grandmother. And man, I'm having such a hard time. It's hilarious. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, okay. sorry, surprise. The piece that feels really important to just name is in the same thread. I think someone said figuring out what it is that you need to be able to be in that environment, because with family, especially if we haven't connected in a long time, there's like really deep shit in our nervous system that happens when we're around each other. Like it's just a real thing. And so it feels like any kind of like premeditative thing that you can decide that you can do for yourself, or even like physical practices that you know you can do for yourself when in that environment, feel like super essential. And there's more, but I'm gonna stop talking because it's not in a way that is honoring to our time. And so I think I'm gonna send you another message when I have it all together. But I love you, I feel you, I see you, and I really trust that the resources will arrive in order for you to be able to be there and show up and receive this opportunity to connect with your grandmother in this way and receive the healing that is available and possible through this experience. Thanks for bearing with me. Whoa.
You got it, Michaela. You got it. Dira, anything that you want to just let land in you as you in voice aloud?
Yes, aside from the fact that in containers, especially as powerful as this one, how the message can come across even when the message doesn't come across. I completely get what you were saying, Michaela. It made perfect sense to me. So thank you. And I've already got some idea of what it is that I will need to keep myself in myself, for lack of a better way to put it, when I'm able to go down there and see my grandmother and to nurture my inner child and to make sure that I have what I need to stay in character, so to speak. So thank you. I truly appreciate you all.
And who are you feeling to go next, Dira?
I am feeling Karen.
All right. So thank you. What I'm going through right now, honestly, is just I feel like in my business, the piece that I am growing into is like the marketing piece, which I'm kind of leaning into specifically like having a consistency of showing up, like on Instagram for something. Like my goal is to build my email list, right? And so it's like, well, where do you get the people to be on the email list, right? So I'm like, oh, there's a lot of people on Instagram, etc. And then I just don't like. I think the thing that I need support with is almost like having permission to be like, my content creation can be as inconsistent as I want, because that's actually very natural to me. But like, what does consistency look like for me in a very like simple, manageable way? And so I'm like, I feel like I could try doing like one Instagram live a week. And then the invitation is like, join my email list. We talk more about stuff like this over there. And I think the thing is, I just need like, I would desire to have permission to know that that's enough for now. I'm like, even like just until 2023, like 11 weeks or whatever. Yeah.
Oh man, that's so real. It's so fucking real. Oh my God. Yeah. First of all, permission granted. Permission granted. Okay. Permission granted. Consistency is such an interesting piece in my life. It's such an interesting theme. And one thing that's really been supportive to me, in addition to just having permission to do it my fucking way, whatever that means, is being consistent in aligning to the core of my message and authenticity. Like, that's what I want. I don't need to be consistent in like, at least not right away, right? It's like building blocks, right? But when I start with like, I'm not going to show up unless I'm going to be consistent in knowing that when I show up, I'm going to be authentically showing up. it's not gonna be about, oh, I need to go live at this time every week or every day, or post at these specific times every week or every day. It's like, no, what I want to be consistent in is making sure that my message is like speaking from my core, and speaking aligned, and speaking authentically, saying exactly what it is that my soul wants me to say. That's what I want to be consistent in. And then from there, I can build on that. Right. But it's like when I flip the switch and I'm like, no, I have to post this week because I said that's what I was going to do. I'm no longer speaking from my core. I'm no longer speaking from my soul. And that's what I want to stay consistent in. So yes, permission granted. And that's the other piece that came to mind as you were sharing. Who else wants to reflect to Karen?
I do actually, if I could, to somewhat mirror that. And what came to me was consistency with a sense of flow, not with a sense of duty or obligation. And I feel like that is where we are at our most successful, because if your consistency with a sense of flow, you don't have to post every day, because your message, bam, it hits every time you do. And so, especially for a human design coach, yeah, you got this. So 100%, I love that. And yes, permission granted. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Who else wants to reflect to Karen?
All right. Reflection for you, Karen, is that I just went to your Instagram and I was looking through all your stuff. And I think you might be the only one who feels the pressure of being consistent, because when I look at this, all I see is consistent Karen. And that's what I'm going to put you in my phone as. Consistent Karen. That is your nickname, because I struggle with consistency, and but it's my own self-imposed pressure. And so, because I'm also growing my business through Instagram, and when I think of, oh my gosh, I have to post 3 times this week, who's telling me that? It's me. But I am such an overachiever that I'm like, it has to be perfect, and the vibe has to be all the same, and the color, and like I get super into it. But you're already doing it. So I would just really encourage you, like, you are super powerful. And just from meeting you on here, like, you don't seem like a slacker. Like, you don't post once a month, like you're doing it. So I think that you're doing great. And I just have a question for you, because I was hearing you speak, and it seemed like you had like stress around getting people on your email list, because you spent all this time to like build it. So, like, how many people do you want on your email list, and by when? Is it like you want maybe a goal of just one person a week, or like, how can you start small? Just you don't have to answer now, but you can think about that, is like, what are you working on? And because, so you can celebrate that success. Like, if I say I want to get 3 people on there this week and I got 2, that's still freaking awesome, so just thinking about that goal, and then how you celebrate those numbers, because it's super self-imposed. So just remember that, consistent Karen.
Thank you so much, Kat. I receive all of that. Thank you.
And Michaela, do you want to reflect something to Karen?
Consistent Karen. I love that so much. You're doing it already. You're already doing it. You're already doing it. I'm with you. I echo the consistency and the challenge in that. And I think for me, where the pressure comes from, yes, it's coming from myself, but it's also coming from the reality of knowing that, like, specifically the platform of Instagram has an algorithm, and there are things that affect who sees our stuff. Like, we can come with our message, and if it's not being seen, for me, that's where it comes from. I'm like, okay, how can I work with this and like play the game to some extent to reach more people? And where I'm at right now is really just like, okay, I fully trust that the people who are meant to see this are going to see it when they're going to see it, whether it's now or in several months or whatever. Like, I just get to choose for myself to keep showing up in the ways that feel true. And that is my strategy gem that I'm just going to drop in this moment that I never got to. Just keep being true. Just keep showing up and being true. That's it. Okay.
Thank you. You're right. You're right.
Beautiful. Anything else you want to add just to help, just to integrate everything that was shared, Karen, or you want to just sit with it?
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. I feel like everything you said, everybody just hit, and it's exactly what I needed to hear. So thank you.
Yay. Power of sisterhood, power of mastermind. And Kat, what you got for us? What are you growing through, and how do you desire to be supported in that growth process?
Okay, I love this. And I'm so glad everyone else went before me. Gave me some ideas. Well, okay, one thing that I am growing through is I want to be more physical. Like, I want to do more physical health and working out. So here's what's happened to me in the past, I'd say definitely 2 years. I mean, I guess it just happens when you have a baby. It's something like no one told me about, but your life becomes very segmented. It used to feel like a big open flow where I had unlimited, like everything was just available in a single day when I was awake. Like I could wake up, I could definitely work out. I had all this space, all this time. And now everything feels like segments of an orange, you know? And then if like that one segment's almost eaten, it's like, oh, you don't even have time to finish it because you have to go to the next one. And so go through these seasons like every 3 months of like, I'll be super into fitness. My body responds really well. Like my heart feels so good. My chest feels good. Like everything feels great. And then I'm just like, oh, it feels too busy. Like it feels way too busy to have to do that every day, you know? So I just am really like growing through that because I've done so much this year, emotional work, goal setting, manifesting. I feel like I'm doing pretty good and all these other areas of my life. But this area, I'm just like, if I literally don't get my butt moving, like, how can I show up my best in this world? You know, like this physical health, I feel like I'm missing. And I know that like I want to live a long life. And if I'm not moving enough, well, that's not good. Like if I'm just sitting at a computer brainstorming, trying to grow a business through screens, you know, like at the end of the day, if I have some disease that I could have prevented, well, then who freaking cares about all these digital platforms I'm on, you know? So that's what I'm growing through. And I'm feeling like a little grumpy about it because I want to work out, but it doesn't like make me money. You know, it doesn't like add to my business. And I don't know. So that's where I'm at. So I'm almost like I'm desiring self-motivation, you know, and I'm desiring like someone else almost to take the lead to be like, Kat, we can work out once a week, not like together, but maybe they just check in like, hey, I worked out this week. How did yours go or something? So I'm desiring like self-motivation, but then also a partner, you know, who like wants to do that. So that's where I'm at. I actually really enjoy working out. Like one of my favorite things. Like I used to be a very competitive swimmer for the state of Ohio, and like fitness was my thing. Like I was super into it. And so that's what's going on.
Yeah, girl, I feel you. I feel you. We've had conversations before. I went through a whole weight loss journey. I've lost 45 pounds. You lost, I think, 75 pounds. Like, yeah. So I've had that time in my life where I'm like super motivated, working out all the time, and like, and it feels good and I love it. And recently I haven't been like really since I'd say like end of 2020, beginning of 2021. I really like both subconsciously and consciously like gave myself permission to not. Like I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna not. And I put on weight again, and I feel different in my body, and it was actually beautiful for me. So okay, so I'm gonna try and sum this up. what I love about being in this body right now with the extra weight again is that I'm able to create a new reference point for self-love and self-acceptance. Being where I'm at now, at the weight I'm at now, I'm not where I was at my heaviest, but I'm definitely not where I was when I was at my fittest. And I get to like appreciate and love myself more because I know how to do that. Like loving yourself and accepting yourself is a muscle, is its own muscle that you have to work. And so it's giving me an opportunity to like really work that muscle. And so that feels really good because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel motivating, like the kind of motivation that I like when I'm putting pressure on myself, you know? Like I want to be motivated to work out because it's something I really want for my body, not because I feel like I have to look a certain way, you know? So that's one. And then the other thing is that I'm lucky. My fiance is a personal trainer, and I told him when I get back to California, I'm like, babe, you got to write me a program because this is crazy. It's time. Like I'm ready. The holidays are coming up. I'm going to be eating a lot of baked goods. It's time. I need to be able to feel good about eating all that good food. So you got to write me a program. So I will be working out, and I'd love to be a partner with you in that. And I had this thought of sharing. For a while I was going live on Instagram whenever I would work out and do my workouts on Instagram, but I thought about like every time I work out, like sending a Zoom link in the main chat for us and just being like, anybody who wants to work out with me, it's happening 15 minutes, you know? And whether or not you go, you know, you join, it's like just having like, I'm going to include that in part of what I offer, you know, here as just like follow along and be a part of my journey or not, you know, and hopefully that's inspiring to you and serving you in some way in this, helping yourself get that motivation that you're looking for, you know? So it was a little bit of a longer reflection, but there you go. Who wants to go next?
I do.
More questions. Oh, Karen, you go first though.
No, Michaela, ask your questions.
Okay. I'm wondering, okay. I'm wondering how old your baby is. How old's your baby?
She's 27 months, so she's 2 years and 3 months.
Okay. And I'm wondering how your body generally feels. How's your body like feeling after birth?
Very neutral. Really neutral. Yeah. Like I'm over the tired aspect, but pretty neutral. Just like not very excited about a lot of things. I'm also still breastfeeding her, which was not my plan. So I also feel like I'm not eating enough.
Mm-hmm. Are you bleeding again yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. Okay. Karen, do you want to go next or okay. I feel you. I'm with you. I just want to like fully honor the transition that you spoke to from like into motherhood because it's real and it's different and it's like a whole new arena, especially now that your body is, you know, bleeding and cycling again. This is something that's so alive in my space. I recently caught this wave of inspiration to get back into my body in a way that I haven't in years, actually. It's been like probably 5 years. I was a yoga teacher, like rock climber in it, like so ready to get life in my body. And I have really been in this process of peeling back. So I'm just reflecting that same rhythm that both you and I have spoken to this point of it coming in waves and catching this next wave. And it's been a really exciting journey that I'm on right now too, with figuring out how to utilize certain exercise with my cycle, right? Like when my peak hormones are lit, like I'm going to do more high intensity cardio and hit, you know, and when like right now I'm on my luteal cycle, I'm doing a lot more walks and stretching and jogging and things like this, right? And so this is something that I'm so inspired to continue to light in myself and share. Like it is so real for me. And so to hear that this is a request and a desire that you're having, I'm so here for it. So freaking here for it, especially because you're a mom and you're navigating that life. So just yes to that accountability, and yes to sharing what it is that I'm discovering for myself in that process, and continuing to light each other up in this way, because our bodies are so deserving of feeling good and like strong and mobile and able to meet life in all the ways that we get to. So that's what I got.
Thank you for sharing that. I loved that. Thank you. And Karen, let's hear what you have to say. I'm so curious.
Okay, so whenever it comes to like weight loss and working out, my question always is, for what purpose? And so you already answered that. You're like, I just want to live a really long time, right? I did not hear you say you want to be on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, right? So that's going to inform the type of working out that you do, right? And in tandem with what Michaela's saying about very like seasonal, like we're getting into a season of hibernation, we're getting into a season of cold. So the type of exercising you're going to do is going to look totally different than what you would be doing in July, right? Also, are you overgoaling yourself? Is one day a week, is every day a lot, or is like 3 days a week more realistic? Or is it once a day for 30 minutes walking outside with your daughter in the stroller? Or is it 3 times a week with an hour with like cardio, HIIT, all of the things, right? 2, I want to push back on the statement that you said of working out doesn't make money in my business, because I would argue that yes, it does. And here's why. 1, your business is about water. Your business is about life. Your business is about being healthy. You incorporating that in some way, I don't know, exercise, water, seem to go hand in hand in some way. You get to decide what that looks like. 2, for you as a business owner, you working out, getting your brain clear, and then like going into a shower and like having that private space with the water, that's going to bring you ideas. It's going to bring you a bunch of like inspiration. It's just going to come to you as the oxygen is hitting your body, as your blood is circulating, because it happens to me all the time. And it's this amazing time where you get to have like a meditative, like alone time and clarity for those things, those ideas to come into you. Also, I want to invite you to contemplate what it could look. It seems like the working out feels like a very individual thing, like you're the only one who can do this. And I want to invite you to think of, how can you bring your daughter into the workout? How can you bring your husband into the workout? How can you create space where this is your time and then he has his time, or everybody's doing it together? Like there's so many options. And 2, I just want to reflect back that you said that you do like working out. So this is not an issue of, you know, it's a pain in the butt to put the workout gear on. There's a part deep inside of you that really enjoys this ritual that you get to have for yourself. And we talked about rituals before instead of routines. And so is there space in there, you know? So that's what I get to say.
Thank you so much. I took so many notes on my little notes app. I just set a goal. My working out's going to make me money. Like I need to quantify that, but I'm very excited. Thank you.
Yeah, that feels
I
fun
want
to
to work out. It
explore.
feels so good to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can totally be a part of your business and a part of your brand. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Thank you so much. But I'll hang on. I have to leave at like 4:02. So if I
okay.
pop off, goodbye. I'll see you next week. But I'm here for just like 2 more minutes.
Okay. Well, for those 2 minutes, Dira, do you have something to reflect back to Kat?
Just excitement, because I actually, one of my digital products that I sell is, I call it the sacred cycle, but it's about aligning your body with your cycle. Yes. And so hearing what Michaela said really lit me up, and I 100% support that. And also hearing what Karen said, I also 100% support that, because what I was going to do was pose another question. Is there a part of you that feels like you will lose something you start to work out? And then Karen said, you know, you feel like you won't make any money if you work out. And I was like, that's what it is. So if you feel like you're still having a hard time even after this with motivation, that might be something to look at. I know for me with self-motivation, there's a part of me that feels like they're getting left behind. And so I usually sit with that, journal that, and I have a better, it gives me more opportunities to move forward when I'm able to do that. But that was all. And just excitement. And yes, absolutely, that aligns with your business 100%.
Thank you.
Beautiful. All right, let's real quick do some goal setting for the week. So Kat, I know it's 4:02, but do you want to just share your goals with us for the week real quick?
Yeah, I just made a simple goal. Before I see you all next week, I'm going to work out 2 times.
Yay!
And I already know what I'm going to do. I
Okay.
have it all downstairs. I'm ready to go. Got my calendar. So 2
Amazing.
times.
Amazing. Dira, what are your goals for the week?
Sorry. So my goals are for the week is I have a funnel that I'm going to start to work on. I at least want to have the freebie set up by next Monday. And also I'm going to work out 1 time this week. I just felt so motivated by that. So
Yes. Okay, great. Michaela, what about you?
I'm going to attend one networking event.
Yay!
Yes. And embody my elevator pitch more.
Yes.
And create structured time to brainstorm.
Love that.
And then meetings. There's so many meetings. Yeah.
Okay. And Karen, what about you?
I'm gonna show up to my 2 sales calls and just serve from a place of full sufficiency. And yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. All right, women, thanks for hanging on a few minutes late. I love you all so much. This was such a beautiful call. So celebrating everything that you're growing through and the ways you want to be supported. And I will see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
thank you. Bye.